Children, please be ready for the pledge. Place your right hand on your heart and repeat, I, Shruti Narayan, commit to be vigilant and bear in mind at all times the risk to myself and my colleagues from COVID-19. I promise to take all necessary precautions that prevent the spread of this deadly virus. I promise to follow and encourage others to follow the key COVID appropriate behaviors. To always wear a mask or face cover, especially when in public places. To maintain a minimum distance of 6 feet from others. To wash my hands frequently and thoroughly with soap and water. Together we will win this fight against COVID-19. So children, before we start with the class today, a brief recap of what we had studied. We had studied about the meaning of atmospheric pressure. In very simple terms, atmospheric pressure is the pressure which is exerted by a column of air. We had studied that atmospheric pressure is measured with the help of instrument called mercury barometer, Fortin's barometer and aneroid barometer. And the unit used to express atmospheric pressure is millibars. Then we had studied about the factors which affect the atmospheric pressure. We had studied about altitude, that with the increase in altitude, there is a decrease in pressure. Temperature, higher the temperature, lower the pressure, because if the temperature is high, the air gets heated, it becomes less dense, it expands, so it exerts less pressure. Then we had also studied about water vapor, that moist air exerts less pressure than dry air because moist air holds a lot of water vapor and water vapor is one of the lightest gases. And we had also studied about rotation, that due to the centrifugal force, the air is thrown outwards at the equator, resulting in lower pressure. So today we start with the world pressure belts. So children, because of the difference in temperature, because of the rotation of the earth, we find a pattern of alternate high and low pressure belts all over the earth. So pressure belts are caused by the unequal heating of the earth and its atmosphere, and also due to the rotation of the earth. And today, in today's class, we'll be studying about the four important pressure belts, that is the equatorial low pressure belt, the subtropical high pressure belt, which is also called the horse latitude, the subpolar low pressure belt, and the polar high pressure belt. These four pressure belts, as you know, are not continuous because the surface of the earth is made up of both land and water. And as already you all know, land and water get heated in different ways. Now let us study about the first pressure belt, that is the equatorial low pressure belt. It extends between 0 to 5 degree north and south of the equator. Now at this belt, obviously we all know that the rays of the sun are vertical. So because the rays of the sun are vertical, the air gets heated and it expands. So it exerts low pressure. So in this region, there we find low pressure mainly because of three reasons. The first reason, the equator gets the direct rays of the sun almost throughout the year. Hence, the air here is always very warm. Hot air expands and is therefore light, and so it rises. Thus, a belt of low pressure is created in this region. The second reason being that because the temperature is high, the rate of evaporation too is high. So the amount of water vapor in this region is also very high. And you all already know that humid air exerts less pressure. And the third reason for low pressure in this region is the rotation of the earth. Due to the rotation of the earth, a centrifugal force is created which throws the air outwards, resulting in low pressure. This is a region of calm and very little wind, hence also known as the doldrums after an Old English word meaning dull. The second belt is the subtropical high pressure belt, which extends between 30 to 35 degree north and south of the equator. Here, even though it does not have a very high latitude, yet we find high pressure. So, in the next slide, I'll be explaining you the reason why there is high pressure in this region. So, in the olden days, this belt is also referred to as the horse latitude because in the olden days, vessels with cargo of horses passing through subtropical high pressure belts found difficulty in sailing under calm conditions. With little water and food left for the humans, sailors used to throw the horses into the sea in order to make the vessels lighter. Henceforth, these belts or latitudes are also referred to as the horse latitude. Now I'll explain you the reason for the formation of the subtropical high pressure belt. As you can see in this diagram, at the equator, because of the high temperature, the air gets heated and it starts rising and it starts moving polewards. So, the air that rises at the equator eventually meets the tropopause where it can rise no further. It cools down as it rises and it spreads outwards towards the poles, gradually cooling and sinking back down to the surface at about 30 to 35 degree north and south of the equator. This causes an increase in air pressure. The second reason for the formation of high pressure at the subtropical high pressure belt is the air which is flung off the subpolar low pressure region due to the rotation of the earth also descends in this region, thus adding to the already high pressure existing in this region. So, these are the reasons which have resulted in high pressure in the subtropical high pressure belt. The third pressure belt is the subpolar low pressure belt, which lies between 60 to 70 degree north and south of the equator. Now, if you see the latitude is very high. Still, it has low pressure. So, what is the reason? In the next slide, I'll explain the reason. So, children, the reason for the formation of subpolar low pressure belt at a very high latitude of 60 to 70 degree north and south. Generally, you would feel that because the temperature is so low in this area, here the pressure should be high. But this is not so. So the reason for this is that a low pressure belt is created mainly due to the rotation of the earth, which swings the bulk of the air towards the equator, resulting in low pressure. So as you can see in this diagram, that due to the rotation of the earth, the air is thrown outwards from the subpolar low pressure belt towards the subtropical high pressure belt and also towards the polar high pressure belt. So because the air is thrown outwards, it results in low pressure. Now the last pressure belt is the polar high pressure belt, which lies between 80 to 90 degree north and south of the equator. In this region, the air is extremely cold and heavy because of the very low temperature. We all know that the polar regions receive slanting rays of the sun. This results in extremely low temperature, which causes high pressure in this region. And also because if you remember the diagram, I had explained that due to the rotation of the earth, the air is thrown outwards from the circumpolar or subpolar low pressure belt towards the subtropical high pressure belt and also towards the polar high pressure belt. So the cold descending air and the extremely low temperature results in low pressure in this region. These regions are characterized by permanent ice caps.